Chronicles, and I'm joined once again by Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
She is the author of Adalithia, Elendil, and Almond Tree's Magic. We are also joined by Jocelyn Short.
Hello.
She is a concept artist and illustrator and creator of a series soon to come out called Bearers. And we are also joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He is also a graphic artist, illustrator, creator of Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reclamation comics, as well as Growing in the Garden. He is also the illustrator for the Ancient Illumination graphic novels and Yambani Chronicles comic series. If you are interested at all in any of our creative endeavors, the description of this episode when I upload the audio will have links to all of our websites, link trees, and things of that nature so you can support us in those endeavors. We are here to talk about episodes 8 and 9 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, streaming currently on Apple Plus TV. If you have not caught up to at least 8 and 9, spoiler alert, because I believe the finale is coming out this Friday.
Yep.
Yep.
We were able to get together. We'll be talking about the finale on the 15th, and then I think we'll be taking a brief break for a few weeks after that. Got some folks traveling and things of that nature. So let's jump right in first here with episode 8, Birthright. Interesting couple episodes. We had a lot going on. We start off here with Bill and Keiko discussing which of their attributes Hero will exhibit later on live. The brains of Keiko and the curveball of Bill, which is hilarious given what we find out later in this episode. I don't know what Bill was on. Bill ran to think he somehow by osmosis this child is going to have some of his physical attributes. And then we get a Lee flashback as they return to the site where they lost Keiko. I think was that episode 1 that happened?
Mm-hmm.
She falls. Yeah. And then we're back at Kazakhstan in 2015 briefly, as that's where they're headed to do what they're going to do. And then we go to 1955, where the naval officer basically wants to shut down Monarch, prompting Bill to try and find something. My boy was shady though. The naval Hatchet, whatever his name is.
I do not like that man.
No,
Like, he is such a stereotypical white dude. I have no other word to say for that. Like, from the 50s. This is like, you are so awful. Stop breathing, please.
yeah. He's most of the. I understand because of the times in the 50s. Most of the officers are all like they're from the times of McCarthyism, where everybody is like either you're on our team or you're not, and they're just trying to find anything to discredit you. He's talking about Keiko because she's Japanese. They don't believe the other doctor that made basically the Titan phone.
Titan bait.
Yeah, they find out he was a former naval officer in the Imperial Japanese Navy, so they immediately don't trust him. So Bill ends up like just grasping at straws. They're trying to do anything to try and get their footing back from Shaw leaving when he wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to stick around for that financial meeting with the army, the military heads. Then we go back to 2015. Tim shows the kids the OG office that Keiko and Bill were in, and then of course they transition into the new office where they got this high-tech setup, and Maya's like, this is more like it. They walk through there. And Shaw is going ham on right there. Oh, he's going. I forget. Yes, Shaw wants to go ham on all the wormholes. He's trying to blow up all the wormholes. I don't see how he doesn't see the chaos potentially he could inadvertently create by trying to close them up. And they're really fixated. At least Tim is, for the most part, because I think that's the only reason why Deputy Director Verdugo listens to him. But he's on this bloodline thing with Kate and Kentaro. And I'm like, there is no data to support what you're saying, other than their connections to their daddy, that they're able to kind of find where he's at. but there's nothing that just says they automatically know what they're doing because they're Randa's kids.
So I think in a not scientific way,
Mhm.
I think it's more of you know how your dad thinks better than anyone else. So like
Yeah.
you will like that bloodline type thing. Like, oh, you're like your father, you could figure him out and find him and figure out what's going on better than we can because you know him in a way that we don't.
Mhm. I get that.
That's the only way they would make sense because there's nothing technically besides the fact that their grandmother and grandfather started Monarch. There's nothing special about them.
Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, it's like
They ain't
eventually
know nothing about this
he's gonna
until
put.
what, a
What'd
month
you say,
ago?
Jocelyn? What'd you say, Jocelyn?
I said they ain't know nothing about Monarch until what, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's the cool thing. Jordan, you got any thoughts on the bloodline thing?
Oh, I mean, just them. Personally, like them walking through the scene. Like I was thinking when they were walking through the hallways, and kind of like this is your legacy. I was like, oh, this is cute. Yeah, this is what y'all come from. But like they don't have any real connection to it.
Yeah.
But the skill set.
Yes, like I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, as that's who I grew up with. But his two boys, the gene did not go down to I'm sorry, it just they're probably great in their own ways, but it just ain't happened. So
But that is actually so true. Just because your parent was good at something does not necessarily mean you are.
yeah.
And only one of your parents were good at something. There's two it takes two to make a person. So that does not mean you got those genes. You could have got your mom's genes and she didn't play basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we flash back to 1955 after we find out what Shaw is planning to do. Bill defends Keiko and actually goes after the naval officer. Uh, and then they had come up with this plan like, yo, we need to find something. Shaw is like, you need to give us a map. We need to lay out where these Titans live, what they do, their movements. Basically, I think they're trying to send the military on this goose chase because Bill's like, we don't have all that. And he's like, well, we need to give them something. We want some money. We don't want to lose our funding. We don't have to give them something.
I
Basically,
have to say that was smart of Shaw.
yeah.
Like that was one of he knows this is his fault, so I think that was really smart of him. Like we got to give them something to look after. Otherwise, why are we here?
Then they fast forward again to 2015, and we see Tim basically is trying to have the kids get their own shot at Columboing in their grandparents' offices in the basement. And I was laughing at Tim when Kentaro notices a specific date. He's like, "Oh, this is my 18th birthday," which was significant for Kentaro because I'm assuming Pops was absent for that day. Like I've only become a fan. He was gone, and Tim is hyped. He's like, "Oh yes, that was a really busy day," and he was like, the look on Ken's face, like, "That's a reason it's my 18th birthday," because he was fooling with you.
Daddy was gone. Daddy.
It was it's like such an interesting like tidbit to like the relationships between a child and their parent with someone else because to everyone else at Monarch they're like, yeah, your father's this great man, he did all this thing like that day, like the way Tim remembers that day as like it was such a great day, he has such fond memories, and Ken is like, my dad chose you over me, stop talking, like this is not, we're not happy right now. And it's like Tim doesn't get almost why Ken would be upset. And it's like, because this is my dad. I don't care about his job. Yeah. He wasn't there for my 18th birthday for you.
Like this the wine mixer. Right?
Catalina wine mixer.
Then eventually Kate finds the thread. And I'm looking at, and then they figure out where he's going. Oh, he's going back to where he lost her. Does he seem like the sentimental type? And they insist on going. And I'm like, I wrote a note here. I'm like, these people just operate on stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Scooby-Doo game.
And I'm getting sick of, I don't know if you all are, but Kentaro is pissing me off with his double dutching. That's what Ken do. Do you want to go? When the ladies double dutch back in the day, and you got that one person who's just going back and forth, we even trying to get in. That's what Ken's doing.
That's good time.
That's
To
Ken.
be honest, that's all of them though. That's all of them.
So
All of them do this.
they do, but I feel like Ken, he even like Kate sort of brings it up. She's like, "I'm
Kate,
sorry for volunteering you," and he's like, "No, you're not." Basically, so I feel like Ken is there now to be there, but not because he wants to be there. He's there because it's his sister, and we see that there's like an actual sort of caring relationship coming through. And I feel like if his sister backed out, he would back out. But I feel like he's double dutching because I definitely agree. He is going back and forth because I don't really feel like he truly wants to be there. He's there because the woman he cares about is there, and also his sister, who he's starting to care about, is there. So it's like, and I will be honest, I think they're the only ones who could make Shaw change their minds. There's no one else at Monarch that could ever have a chance to make Shaw change his mind. If anyone could, it would be either Ken or Kate.
Ken, to me, he has his moments where he's gung ho and ready to go forward with whatever they're doing, and the next moment he questions like, "Why are we even doing this?" Like, dude, you stupid. In the middle of a tundra in Alaska, you were so gung ho. You walked off by yourself.
I'm going this
That was
way.
so dumb.
I'm going away.
I have to disagree.
I have to be right.
Okay.
While yes, it seemed like it wasn't smart in the middle of the decision making, but like in that scenario, it was almost a no-win scenario no matter what they did because they had no way of contacting. So it was like either he dies with them or dies like it's like either he dies listening to them when he doesn't believe them and they would have or
well, at that point they didn't believe him. Like knowing they couldn't corroborate him seeing what he saw was that was the problem there.
Yeah. So it's like he had to go off on his own because he's like, if I'm going to die, at least I'm going to die trying to prove I was correct.
Yeah.
Versus listening to you and going to certain death. Because where else are we going to go?
Like you said, it's a problem all around. And like, I think at the time with that, like when they were in the tundra or just like current time is like the early 2000s, right?
2015.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I was about my very poorly foundational argument was going to be it's the early 2000s, so like not enough movies have come out to understand that like if we split up it's a bad idea. No, it's 2015 and they're just gonna do, they just out here, they just doing whatever they got to do. So
they
I have a leg to stand on, quite frankly.
That's all good. Like I said, I just don't like the double dutching. Either you ready to go all the way or you just not. And actually just go. If you're gonna go home, stop pump faking and just go home. Or, just pick one and go. We flash back to the 1950s again, and Keiko wants to clean up their evidence and data to make it more presentable as proof to the military that's trying to shut them down. And Bill has his little, I call it the Geico moment, because, you want to make it so simple even a caveman could do it, basically. He's like, basically, we want us to break this down so a Neanderthal could follow these directions and see what we're getting at, which was pretty funny. And later on, we find out the juicy tidbits that Hatchet was talking about really weren't all that big a deal. At least not to me, it wasn't that big a deal.
It's not a big deal in this day and age, but it would have been in the 50s.
Well, I was thinking it was going to be more severe. We'll get to that in a minute. But the reason, because of World War II and everything in Japan and our history, I was thinking it was going to have something to do more with that.
Yeah, I thought she had like international secrets or something.
Like, or again, had ties like that with the other doctor, had ties to the military, the Imperial Japanese Navy.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking it was going to tie into.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. We just don't know.
That's
true. Very true.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, because we don't know who we don't know. We flash forward again to 2015, and the tactical team is going to end up pulling punches at Kate's request. We're not gonna go in guns a-blazing. We're gonna take the vest off. We're gonna talk nice to them.
That part was so funny. That part was so funny. She came out.
Yeah.
She said, "Wait."
No. Not then. I'm talking about on the
When they're still in the
truck,
car.
on the car ride.
Oh, okay. Oh,
When
sorry.
they're sitting there on the car ride there, and May picks up a vest, and then she
Oh,
hesitates, like,
okay.
I'm not gonna be the only one who puts the vest on. So she puts it back, and I'm like, does nobody know that Michelle Duvall left two Monarch agents laying on the side of the road when she freed Shaw, and you're neglecting to protect yourselves? Like,
But
I don't
again,
think she shot them. I think she just tased them, but she did leave them on the side of the road, and they drove off with Shaw, and there's some dude just shaking on the side of the freeway wherever he was transporting him.
and that is very true for Monarch agents.
Yeah.
Those three, I think, are safe. So
Yeah.
it's almost like Kate is playing,
Roulette.
is risking the Monarch people's lives. She's not risking her life, Ken's life, and May's life because she knows Shaw's not going to hurt them.
She's
will
pulling
hurt the
my
other
dog
people.
don't bite. She's pulling my dog don't bite. Do he bite? No, he
He don't bite you.
He
Yeah.
just wants to. He just wants to play.
Yeah, she is. And so she's safe, Ken's safe, and May is safe.
Yeah.
But the other Monarch agents,
Yeah.
she's playing with their lives. She's not playing with her life and her brother's life and her friend's life.
That is crazy. And we see a similar experience when they get to Kazakhstan. They've built some crazy dome over the facility. Because we hear earlier, I think we see that when Shaw and them, she's like, "Oh, well, they're trying to keep something out," and he's like, "No, I think that's their feeble attempt at keeping something in." And then we see a similar experience with the new Monarch agents and Kate and Kentaro and May when they're telling them how much radiation is there. And it's like, "Oh, it's not good. It's close to bad, but it's not really good. But something is draining the radiation that's here." And then we know that when Keiko and Bill Randa and Shaw went there the first time, it was like this crutch of Titan babies, I guess, that were feeding off the radiation. So there was no like strong readings once they got there and they were able to take their masks off. We see a similar thing happen, and they find the charges that Shaw and his team have set to blow the wormhole up. And then there's a standoff with Duvall. And this, Jocelyn, is I believe what you're talking about.
Yes.
Where she takes a leap of faith. And I was like, what is happening? Kate's like, everybody stop.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening?
No one's shooting anyone today.
It's so ridiculous.
Stop.
So
Again,
ridiculous.
she knew she was not going to get shot.
Wait.
He has that plot armor. He has that.
Yeah,
ridiculous
I wrote
armor.
that too. I wrote that later. It was a little bit later in the episode where I wrote that.
Everyone put your guns down.
Like as she told the director of Monarch, I thought he was going to say he was our grandfather. Like she knows how Shaw feels.
Yeah.
She knows she's safe. No one else, like only her, Ken, and possibly Maya could have said no one shoot, and there would have been no shot.
That was such a dramatic moment. I wouldn't have been surprised if some Prince moment Prince music came on and he was like, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here." Like, it's like, where is this coming from? They got guns pointed at each other right now.
No.
Yeah, no.
Don't. No violence today.
So they flash backwards to the 1950s, and then the middle of the night, ants, which Keiko has been frustrated that Bill's like, how do you even get bugs down here at so many stories below ground? But they help him with this theory by walking through a hole in the map that he has, and I guess it's the beginnings of his hollow earth theory that we see in, I think, is it Kong, Godzilla versus Kong, where they go through the
Skull
wormhole?
Island.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No. Skull Island. They just flew directly there to Skull Island.
Yeah, but he spoke about Hollow Earth.
Yeah, but I know.
You're talking about when we actually see.
Hollow
Earth.
When they had like little.
That's Kong versus
the
Godzilla.
spaceship looking. They had to get it, which makes
wild.
After watching this, and then you see Godzilla versus Kong and those spaceship, and you think about in this episode where my boy gets in this little like ping pong ball thing and they're just going to shoot themselves down in the world. It's kind of crazy. And then he shows up at Keiko's house in the middle of the night because he's excited about his theory. And then we have our Mari moment. You are not the father because it is clarified now that
He's not the
Keiko.
stepfather. He's the father who
he's
stepped up.
yeah.
That,
He's
I
the
fully
stepdad.
thought.
And then Shaw's is the uncle step uncle now.
Yes, yeah.
So
That's
that
what
makes
he
him a great uncle to Kentaro and Kate now.
Yeah, Shaw's
Yeah.
Uncle Daddy.
No, Sean doesn't deserve her.
Yeah, because we find out that this is the juicy tidbits that the naval officer had, that she was actually a widow and was applying for visas to get her mom and her son over to America. And she had saved up enough money from the money from Monarch to do that. And then she was, basically expressing how hard it is to raise him alone. My Bill's like, you ain't got to raise him alone. I'll be a Huckleberry. And then they hold hands, and then
I'll be his daddy. Oh, Rod, to comment on your point from earlier, I think it was funny when they were talking about like these kind of expectations we were going to have on him, on Hiroshi, and they never referred, like the way Bill was speaking, he wasn't technically referring to his physique, but like teaching him how to play baseball. Yeah. And I was like, I thought that was clever how like they're not referring to like what he'll look like, but like what he'll be capable of, which I thought was clever.
I think that's kind of inferred, though, which is why I was kind of tripping on him, thinking he was just going to inherit your curveball, because some of that's got to have to be. It's not just I can teach a kid to do something, but if he doesn't have the physical faculties to do it, that's not going to help very much,
I mean, one could dream. I mean, hey, it's a skill. I mean, hey, they're dreaming. They're like, what could he become? We don't know. So you can't gauge that. He's like 5.
Yeah.
But this is why I also sort of like Randa, because we can tell that he respects her as both a scientist and a woman. Yeah. And it's like he is very careful about how he phrases what he says to her.
Yeah.
And because we know he attracted to her. We know he loves her. We know he wants her. But he's like, okay, I understand. And then he doesn't even though he says like you don't have to do it alone, he's like, you have us. And he sort of adds Shaw into the mix as well to not like assume she's going to like want him. But I was like, this is why I like Bill, because Bill,
I got your back. He says,
yeah. He's like he doesn't assume.
But he did grab her hand though after saying that.
Yeah, he forgot about the hand grab. That's a classic move.
This whole scene, like when he first came knocking at the door and she was like, "You have to go," I thought it was gonna be like a caught in the act situation.
Me too. I thought about it, like Lee comes out shirtless. Like, oh,
yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
I thought about it too.
I knew it was going to be that because after the last episode, after episode 7, I was like, I figured she was done with Shaw because Shaw would not like do what she asked. So I didn't see. I saw that vibe in between them when like he came to Japan. She was just like, I'm done with you because you can't respect me.
You ain't gonna, well, not even that. You're not going to do what's right above what you feel, and so I can expect you to do what we need to.
And that's why I was like, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew it was not going to be Shaw. If it was another guy, it was never going to be Shaw. I knew that. I was like, nah. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So we flash back forward to 2015, where Kate and Shaw are having their own little personal powwow because when the standoff, when she said wait, he was like, I'll tell you what's going on, but just you, and calls her to the back so they can have a little talk. And then she's like, why should I believe you? I want to believe you. And then he pulls this, you looked into his eyes. It's all about belief. He's not just a mindless thing, just tearing up stuff. And here's where like some people with animals and this weird like trust, people, oh, it is cute. Like it's got fangs and teeth. It will tear you up. I used to have this DVD back in the day called When Animals Attack. I remember I had this dude in a cowboy hat with his wife filming, and he had a bear. And it was a bear sitting there, and he had a rolled up piece of newspaper like he was dealing with a puppy. And he was like, sit. And the bear just kind of looks at him, and he's like, you realize I'm a bear, right? And then he messes up and then pops the bear on the nose. And the bear finally gets tired of it and mixes his ass up like a record and he plays dead on the ground. And then the bear walks over and smacks the paper too, like, yeah, you can get it too, and then walks off. It's like this is what I feel like Shaw is kind of doing. Like you can't control or help these things. They're too big. They're looking like us. How we look at ants is how Godzilla is looking at all of us. So
I'm like, you are not
intention.
the Irwins.
But
We're not any of the Irwins. Okay.
But he's
Like,
on to something though. But he's on to something like the whole idea, like of
it's
Godzilla being this protector of like these dimensions.
I
And like
understand that.
him being like a more sentient, because I always like have asked that question, like what is Godzilla really doing? Like, is he just fighting monsters? Some movies he's just destroying a city. You know, his motivations, this creature's motivations kind of
Well,
shift and change.
in this version of Godzilla, he only comes out to fight other monsters when they are attacking us.
That too.
And
Exactly.
so, but I agree with Rod on this one. It's like, why do you think you can control a wild animal? Like, and then something of that size. Like, there is nothing you can do to control it.
Yeah.
You gave your best nukes to destroy it, and you fed it.
Yeah.
Like,
my thought
eat those.
my thought behind what he's doing, what Shaw is doing, and correct me if I'm wrong. I thought his whole plan was to try to just seal up the entrances because like he, like everybody else, doesn't want any more attacks on the surface.
That is
because you can't stop it. So his
Yeah.
thing is just like this is what I can try to do to stop it. Is
That is
like
also
to
true.
try
That
to
is his
keep them
motivation.
from coming out.
Yeah.
That's
It is. I think that's what he means when he says I'm trying to help him by basically helping the gatekeep by closing up most of the gates. Then it makes Godzilla's job easier of keeping us separate. But he still is when you talk to someone, say you looked into its eyes and basically saying it has a certain level of communication with you, therefore you can infer its intention and intelligence is kind of a wild.
yeah. That would lose me a little bit if you were like it's about belief, and I'm like, get out of my face. What are you talking about?
You will be no less punished.
But they don't know what the fact is. The fact is, I am an ant to him.
Yeah. It's one of the morbidly hilarious things in life, I think, when you see people with wild animals and you like, I don't think you should be that close to that tiger. And then they're all surprised when, like Chris Rock said, that tiger didn't go crazy. That tiger went tiger.
I also feel like, oh my God, I also feel like and I know this, if he was to say what I'm about to say, I know this will probably like ruin what we find out later.
Mhm.
If he was to say this, which is like, I've been down there. I know,
Yeah.
you know, like that, yeah, it would spoil it. But if it wouldn't spoil it, he could have just said that instead of
Yeah.
belief.
He could have said that a long time ago, to be honest. And I'm assuming because the way he says to Kate when she says, "I don't believe you, but I want to believe you," and then he's like, "Well, you're further along than Monarch was," because apparently he told them everything and they still didn't believe. So he was like, "Well," and that was the reason why he wanted to talk to just her. And then we flash back again briefly to Shaw, like Andrea just mentioned, telling Puckett, "Look, we didn't kill it.
I got this
We
book.
found back in the day, we did not kill it." And then hands over the map and their compiled evidence. And then he does a little player hating on Hatch, like, because Hatch has been hating on him. So he's like, "Yo, Lieutenant Hatch is hating to get his own stuff funded. So he's trying to take the money from our program and fund things that he's interested in." And then you can see Puck was shook. He was like, what do you mean? What did you just say? It ain't dead. You didn't kill it. He's still out there, and I've confirmed it with my own two eyes. Like,
and your man knows that he's not saying anything.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he does know. Well, he might, because he's had access to all their files now, because Puckett's initial response was, "Well, that's top secret. He doesn't have clearance for that. Why would he know that?"
I did say that.
So I don't know if everything was handed over.
It was in the original report at the beginning of the episode, and he's like, "You have all these half truths and all these ramblings, and you try to make it to a report." And so they just cleaned up the report and gave it straight to the general. So like the dude had it, but we both know, well, he never truly read it to actually.
He's trying to discredit everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what your hating got you? A demotion.
Yeah. So after they go through that, they flash it back again, and we come into the end of the episode in 2015, where they're running around. May falls. when a giant bug comes out of the portal, then Kate and Shaw, the charges blow, collapses, and I have in parentheses, I didn't believe none of it before I even watched it. I was like, plot armor. I'm like, they're not.
Oh yeah.
I'm not following. We don't see a body.
Yeah.
They just a puff of smoke and then the credits. I'm like, yeah, I'm not falling for that.
Was anybody falling for that? I was like, it was just an excitement for me. It was like, oh, this is it was more like excitement and energy, like
climax of
happening.
action.
So
Some action, the creature busts out. That's it.
If it was more like episode 1, probably, but because we saw the blue light at the bottom, no.
We know.
Yeah.
Portal.
Yeah.
I'm saying again, after watching this, after knowing what happens in Godzilla versus Kong with regard to the portals, I'm like, how is anything surviving? Which I think just makes it hilarious what we get to in this next episode, because we go to episode 9, which is titled Axis Mundi, and then we see a young Hiroshi with Bill and Uncle Shaw. And it shows basically post loss of Keiko, Uncle Lee is going somewhere, and he gives Hiro a little keepsake, a knife that, hey, I was going to give this to you when you got a little older, but I'm not giving it to you. I want you to return it to you. Give it back to me, basically. I'll be back soon. Mm-hmm. And we have the, that's why I have in quotes, like, the Monarch ball drone experience is bold, especially knowing what the technology that we see years and years later that they built. Like, we was really just strapping ourselves in this metal ball and throwing ourselves down this wormhole. And I'm thinking, like, how are you going to, like, if you don't know what's on the other side, like, that mechanism has no, like, there's no landing. Like, there's nothing, you're not trying to land.
That happened just this past year, y'all. That happened just this past year.
Oh, we're talking about the
you talking about the submarine?
Talking about the
submarine?
No.
The submersible? It's a submersible, y'all. It wasn't a sub. It was a submersible, y'all. The one
that just happened.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
My thing is, why would you not send a probe first?
Yes, yeah.
Why would you not send?
That's a while they sent people, and then also didn't have an understanding of like what happens when the gateway closes, which is like
you can't control when it opens or closes. You have to have.
That was the wildest part. James Ficklin laughing my ass off. That was the wildest part. In 1962, we have, and Puckett is making it seem like this is the moon landing competition, right. Except for this is
who did see there?
Underspace.
Oh yeah, Underspace. That's what they call it. They didn't even call it something cool like Inner Earth. They called it Underspace.
Yeah. Have y'all seen Poltergeist?
Yes.
That was
Remember when she was like inner space?
Yeah, yeah. And this was a old Looney Tunes ass plan. Like, we're gonna lure a Titan in to make the path passable. I'm like, are you skipping over the fact that we have to lure a Titan here to let us follow his wake? And we're doing Tokyo Drift with the Titan.
And like, you're just sitting there with no like protection.
There was no protection, and that's what was making me nervous. I was like, Is a Titan gonna pull up on our end or the other Inner Earth end? I was like, what's gonna happen?
They were thinking he was gonna go home and they were gonna follow him. Like, I was like, what kind of Wile E. Coyote plan is this? And y'all see what happens. The portal kind of blows up. This like a little mini earthquake. It falls through and Shaw is presumed dead. And then after that point, we knew it was coming, that eventually Puckett was going to try to shut things down. That comes later. Obviously, Bill is going to continue now. He's obsessed because he's lost Keiko and he's lost Shaw, and he's going to continue doing that. We all know until he meets his demise in Skull Island. So, what were you going to say, Jocelyn? Like you had your hand up.
No.
Okay.
I feel bad for Hiroshi.
Okay. You want to back up a little bit?
No.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jordan.
I said I feel bad for Hiroshi. Him growing up and losing everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like,
everybody
it's a messed up life. I'm like,
everybody failed that little boy.
You
wondering why he's a deadbeat now. He's like, I have no.
He's never had a parental figure.
all my parents died, so I'm just gonna have multiple
This is
families.
generational curses. Keep it
Yeah,
going.
really. It's like, damn.
So we flash forward again to the aftermath of what happened at Kazakhstan, and Ken wakes up after the debacle at Kazakhstan. My boy Tim has 9 lives.
He
This
survived.
dude,
Truly.
He survives everything. He's ashy. He's always just covered in dirt. Like, come on, man.
So you know what's interesting though? His ex-partner in episode 8 said, Tim, you're not cut out for the field. But he's the only one consistently coming back home.
yeah, all the tactical people in the helicopter was dead when they crashed and Godzilla knocked them over. He's the only one that came out. When Verdugo, where is such and such? They gone. All of them. All of them. Like,
Y'all didn't even check. Y'all didn't find anything out. This show is so funny because like nobody is meant to die at any point. Everybody just gets a little dirty sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah. So it's hilarious that Shaw, May, Kate presumed dead, and now Ken, he's back to double dutching. He wants to finish Shaw's work. And then we see his mom shows up to take him home. And then they flash into what happened in the wormhole. And of course, in the Hollow Earth, Shaw survived. That's my premise. Of course, Shaw lived.
Mhm.
May lived.
Yeah,
My
true.
question is, if he's been there before and knows what these creatures are, we seen what we saw at Skull Island. Why are we screaming?
Why are you scared? We did this before.
Well, that answer does come a bit later when he explains it to May. So I'll hold my comment
Okay.
until he explains it to May.
Yeah, he explains it. What's the name of the show? It's Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus. Basically, it's a TV show, a series that's a prequel to the 2014 Godzilla film. And yeah, so that's the show we're spoiling. Episodes 8 and 9 are what we're talking about right now.
Sorry, James.
Sorry, James, if you hadn't watched that.
And we said spoiler warning at the beginning
At
of
the
this
beginning,
episode.
we did.
So that means you weren't watching from the beginning.
Yeah.
So get caught up.
James, just enjoy the entertaining commentary.
And so yeah, so then he finds May, and immediately I was reminded of like some weird video game where you had to make it through. It was like one of the obstacles. This lightning storm just pops up out of nowhere.
It's Final Fantasy X.
I like. Yeah. Oh, that was a good. Okay.
It's specifically a mini game, but like an extra. It's not secret, but it's like to get an extra thing in that game. You have to dodge like
you got to get through the lightning field.
Lightning
The lightning field that strikes upward.
So yeah, like you guys were saying, he's basically starts explaining to her after, like, this is normal. This is what happened to me when we first touched down. You got to move out of this lightning field. It does something weird to your vision. And May's like, how do you know? And he's like, I've been here before. That was probably one of the moments she could have been like, you could have told us that before.
You should have started with that, dude. You should have started with that.
And they start searching for Kate again with the screams, Kate. And I'm like, come on, something's gonna come eat y'all. Y'all calling for Kate. You're gonna call something else here pretty soon.
That's all they got, man. That's all. What else they will do?
Yeah. So they flash to 62, and this is where we see officially General Puckett tells Bill it's over. And then Bill tells him, I can't let it go, Puck. And I was petty. I was really petty mentally in this moment because Puck tells him, look, he's already lost a mother and an uncle. Don't let him lose a father too. And I was like, too late, because he lost his daddy before he came. That's Keiko was a widow, so he already lost his daddy.
Don't let him lose another father. Because when Bill meets him, Hiroshi is like a toddler.
Yeah.
3 maybe. So like it's a good chance he doesn't ever actually remember meeting his father.
True.
Bill's probably the only father he has memory of.
Yeah.
True. So then they flash, I guess, back again or forward to 1982. Now we're in the 80s, and we see Shaw just wakes up 20 plus years later after Pop. I'm like, how did he get back? Did the wormhole spit him up, and he just wakes up.
That was that was weird. The explanation behind that was very strange. Like beautiful visuals, Go ahead, Andre. No, go ahead, Andre. You can
So,
fight it. Go ahead. Go.
very funny, interesting thing. So it's like weird that he's sitting in that room and like he's getting people are talking to him, asking him all these questions, and it seems like a little Monarch. What is your was all the stuff?
Yeah.
It's really funny because that actor played a version of Captain America, and Captain America went through something very similar. And that's all I remember. It's like, oh, it's very interesting. He went through another past to future thing, just like
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It's all the
Universes
same
are
anyway.
connected.
But
Yeah, I
did
was-
y'all notice who one of the people in the hazmat suits were?
Yeah.
Not the black one, the Asian one. Did you notice who she was? The face.
Yeah, that's Kentaro's mom, the nurse.
Wait, the nurse was.
Yeah, she was in the
Yeah, the
hazmat suit
nurse.
at first.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw her later when he gave her
Oh, yeah.
flowers.
She was in
Yeah,
the hazmat.
Yeah, I noticed her.
They were in a new, I guess, Monarch facility in Japan, and that's when my next note says Kentaro's mom was the nurse. She sneaks in some cookies while my boy's doing a hunger strike, and how does he repay her? He yokes her up and demands to see Bill Randa, which we all know Bill Randa is dead, and he passes out after he figures out that he's been gone for 20-something years and just woke up. None of this makes sense to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the first rising of said nurse, how Hiroshi gets with Kentaro's mom. Brought some little flowers and apologized for, this crazy soldier man being a little rough with you. Are you all right? And it's kind of funny, that little interplay where she's like, well, no, people are under pressure, they do strange things. Like, he literally choked you out. Like, that's not something to just condone off top.
She was like, don't worry about it. It's okay.
It's a part of the job, really.
Yeah.
It's part of the job.
Oh, it's
That
fine.
was interesting. So I'm thinking
will
she
say-
knows more.
Did he take it a little too far? Yes. But like if you come back, you don't know it's been 20 years, and you're trying to find your friend, they say you're at Monarch facilities, but why can't they bring your friend to come and like prove to you you're where you're like there's no reason for him to believe he was with Monarch. That's why he was screaming for Bill Randa. He's like, I'll eat your food when you can prove to me I am where you say I'm at.
Yeah.
So like I get taking a hostage. Like
no one's gonna listen to you at that point.
No one's not. Yeah, no one was going to, but I understand his thought process because in his mind, what is going on? And he's hungry, so he ain't thinking straight because he needs some food. Yeah, he's malnourished.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Yeah, Snicker commercial right there. So I get why he did it. It was not smart, but like I get why he did it. He's like, look, if y'all hold me hostage, let's just go ahead and go down in flames.
Bill Randa.
Like we're just.
I want Bill Randa to give me a sandwich.
I want Bill Randa now. I want a Snickers.
Yeah.
Like, I get why he wanted Bill though. Bill was the only person he would have trusted. So like I get it. He wanted the one person he could trust to tell him the truth of what was going on.
Yeah, and he freaked out though when he saw Hiroshi. Like, what?
Pulled out that blade.
Yeah, what is happening? He just kind of his mind and body just shut down. He's like, I don't know. Nothing was computing. He just passed out.
He said, he didn't even pass out. He just slowly sat down and was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. No.
He was old.
20 years.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was very surprising. Also, I liked how that explained. I love how this explained why he didn't look like he was 90 years old because he was stuck in alternate reality. I mean, another inner space.
Yeah. So then they flash forward after that to 2015, and we see Kentaro and his mom coming home.
And time has passed, but it doesn't tell us how much.
Yeah. They don't really tell us how much. I'm assuming because it's all around the same year, or maybe it's 2016, but
it's still 2015 when I looked it up because I was trying to figure that out too.
Probably months have gone by.
But his arm's no longer broken, and all of his bruises are completely gone off his face.
Like I don't see how Kentaro doesn't realize, like, bro, you're not him. I'm finna save everybody. He was one of them dudes that after you get into a fight at the club and he got socked up, he's telling you what he would have done. Like, he's lucky, y'all got here when you did, because I was going to whoop him and save everybody. Like, no, bro, you weren't. And I think moms knows way more than she's letting on, which is why I think she's so calm. We were talking about that, remember, in the beginning? Like,
Yeah.
why she's so calm about everything? Is like,
She worked at Monarch.
Yep.
that
Or
was
she
a
had a
twist to
job.
me. Yeah, that was a twist to me finding out she worked for Mom. Like, okay, she knows, Moms knows more than what she's letting on. I'm interested to see when at this finale if we get a kind of verification of that, if she reveals more later on.
But that also begs the question, why did they not know that he had a son? Because they knew about the daughter, but they didn't know about the son when they saw her.
I think it was opposite.
No, they knew because when they came to Ken's apartment, it was only because they tracked her phone had been there. And then was when they saw Hiroshi's photo on the mantle, it was like, oh crap. Like he realizes that's their son. So that's his son. So they knew about Kate because he found Kate in like the train station and followed her and then went to Ken. And that's why Ken's mom was also like quick to run.
Yeah,
So
I have it mixed up in my head because I thought he said I didn't know he had a daughter. Like I thought.
No, that was Shaw. Shaw didn't know about Kate.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
But Monarch knew about Kate. They didn't know about her Ken. Which is weird if his mom also worked for Monarch at one point. Which
That's
is
a little strange. That's kind of strange if two employees have a kid. Well, I mean, they'd be more likely to keep it under wraps because they work together. So I don't know.
Like,
That's
Tim was obsessed with Hiroshi's like life, so he wouldn't be shocked. He should not have been shocked to see Hiroshi's like memorial on their mantle.
The shrine to him.
On their mantle, like he did. So that tells me he didn't know about that side of Hiroshi's life.
Also, Tim was kind of, I don't know. Tim gave me vibes like he was a subordinate. So it's like there are things like he obviously wouldn't know. Like there's this constant. I don't know the way Tim be talking. It was kind of like he's that legend. Like Hiroshi was the legend at work. Like I don't think he had that level of an intimate relationship with Hiroshi.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we see later because we stick in that timeline, and Dr. Barnes at Monarch finds a signal, and she's all hype about it because when she zoomed out, there was a pattern that they could find. Then they flash back again to 82, where we see Shaw waking up again in this little hospital bed and breaks everything down to Hiroshi, and Hiroshi's kind of getting his little reconciliation, even though he had told the nurse that he really didn't want to go talk to Shaw. And basically, he like, yo, me and you ain't doing nothing. We're gonna put you in this basically a Monarch insane asylum, basically / old folks home, where we're gonna study you to figure out what the heck happened. And he finally, that's kind of what pressures him during that conversation to tell Hiroshi what happened. He's like, you can't keep it to yourself. You need to tell us what's going on. And Hiroshi blames him, kind of him and him, Keiko and Bill, because like we've lived for 300,000 years with no contact with these Titans until you three. I'm like, damn. He like basically y'all stirred the pot and got all this trouble in here, and basically we see that Shaw stays doped up in the old folks' home until basically around G-Day, or basically when you see the incident in Honolulu where Godzilla comes out to fight the two Muto.
So I'm going back to my point that I wanted to make when he was talking to May about like when your statement about the fact that he should have known not to yell and everything. In his breakdown to Hiroshi, it doesn't seem like he was there for a very long time. It seems like he was there for he's like, we got there, we tried to set up communication, and then immediately we were attacked, and some people died, and I was transported out. So for him, it may have been like maybe like an hour. And so he's like, and it was 20 years here. So he's like, we literally don't have time. Because like the longer we're here, because we're seeing it's only been like a couple seconds have transpired on where they are, but we've seen that Hiroshi went from having a broken arm or broken leg, being laid up in a hospital, to being able Kentaro, to being broken arm, broken leg, to being his arm is healed. He's now home on crutches. His face is healed. And so we're seeing time move on in their time, and it's only been like maybe like we see months in 2015 happen, and minutes are happening back wherever they are. So it's like we don't have time. We got to keep it moving because the longer we're here, he's like, the more time we're going to miss.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, he knows for a fact, he has intimate knowledge that these creatures and something out there exists.
Oh yeah, he does.
And for me, that's why it was weird. I like the transition of this section because the explanation he gives to Hiroshi is kind of tied in simultaneously to the explanation he's giving to May, where they're walking around in the Hollow Earth, and he knows that that's their domain. This is what Godzilla is trying to cut off from. So the creature, what that was messed up. When we see the launch party with Shaw and them land, it was like the beginning of Vox Machina to me. Like,
Yeah.
when everybody
just got that's true.
My girl,
we're all dead. They all died. They all died.
Lightning bolt through the chest. That lightning bolt through the chest is crazy. Like, yo,
yeah, it sure was.
But
that little.
I wonder would that have been the less painful than being eaten by one of those things. So it's like, if you had to go, being struck by lightning, like how long is that going to last? A couple seconds, or would
you might die from shock by getting eaten by the giant creature though.
You hope it's instant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I might prefer to be struck by lightning than eaten.
That would look cool.
Just because you don't know if they're gonna eat you in one bite or a couple of bites, and then if it's one bite, like what you got to face some foreign creature's digestive tract. Okay.
I mean, that mouth
should have been dead by that bite.
That mouth looked like a giant cement mixer with teeth.
It did.
Yeah, that's way worse. I don't.
That's
like a wood chipper. And I just feel like my leg, like you going in through your legs, you're feeling it until you get to your head.
Yeah.
And so or your heart. So like, I don't want to go that way. I take electrocution too. I'll take electrocution for 200.
I don't know. One of them. I mean, one of them didn't even make the landing. Like he was done on impact.
But I don't want to ever actually not make it there. Yeah. Like to say that he was like in the history books, he won't ever get to be like, his family won't be like, oh yeah, my great grandfather, uncle, he made it there and he stepped onto that land. No, he didn't. He died.
But nobody knows that. Nope.
Like I want the bragging rights for my generation of family. Like I made it. I walked there. I took photos, and then I died.
Yeah. I have to say, it is so crazy. I mean, I understand Hiroshi's point of view, but it is also so crazy of Hiroshi to have asked Shaw, like, please share what you experienced, or else it would have been a waste. And then Shaw tells him what he saw, everything about what he saw, and then Hiroshi is just like, you're stupid and crazy. This
whole dismissed him.
Yeah.
Such a man.
He's like, but he was like, Dad was crazy and you're crazy. And Mom died, so who knows? But I'm like, you're insane for this. Like to just dismiss this in full entirety.
He cried. He was dead ass crying. Lee cried. He shed his tears.
Yeah, I'm like, what? How do you just pull out? I mean, I get it, but I'm also like,
because he already mourned it. He already.
I think as similar to what Andrea said. I think because of what Andrea said of the constant losses that Hiroshi is like, he don't want to hear none of this stuff. Y'all all crazy, and because of that, I done lost everything because y'all were chasing this nonsense. And so he's not thinking logically like, yeah, of course this probably happened. He's like, no, we're just gonna put you in this old folks home. They're gonna dope you up so you can't. Because the way he said it, it made it seem like he thought they were a catalyst that was causing some of these things.
And let's be honest,
there was no logic in that.
If
he was just saying that
Shaw was given the right to freely roam, he would have kept doing what he was doing before he went down there. True. And in Hiroshi's mind, I know where you are at all times.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. You are safe. This is a very messed up way, but he's like, he lost his mom. He lost his uncle. He lost his second father to being who was consumed with the grief of losing the other two. So, and then he died. So it's like, I lost everyone and now you're back and I'm so happy you are back, but I'm putting you in a place where you cannot do anything. You can't go anywhere. I will always know where you are.
You're gonna
It's
mess this up
bad,
again.
but like I get he's doing it to protect himself.
Yeah.
Protect his emotions and not the world.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
believes Shaw.
So we flash forward again and we see Kentaro snooping around Pops' Japanese office. And then, of course, ironically, Pops shows up. And I think maybe Jocelyn was about to get the confrontation that she wanted. And maybe they were just going to square up on each other.
Boom, boom, combos.
Can't wait. I was like, he's gonna get one of those, one of them. Like he's gonna get kneed in the face. I was so excited. I couldn't wait, and none of that happened.
But he was destroyed.
Yeah, he was.
And I
He
was
was
happy.
destroyed.
And I was very happy about that. I really was.
What, him crying over Kate?
Yeah.
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 I was very happy.
Could have got
His leg is healed in that scene because I watched that scene multiple times. He's not wearing the boot anymore. So
Yeah.
more time has passed from the scene with his mom to this
When
scene.
they gonna come back? Now I'm
I
just
watched
curious
that
when
scene
they're gonna come
multiple
back.
times. So I was like, where's his boot? I don't see the crutches. I don't see a cane. He's walking fine.
Yeah.
He
I
stood
mean,
on
I knew he wasn't
stood
going to
on
listen.
business and told his daddy, "You suck." Okay.
Yeah.
He literally stood on business because his leg was healed. Okay. He said, "Daddy, you trash. You trash."
I'm just like, Fat Meat is just not greasy to Kentaro. He doesn't believe, like you're in over your head, and he comes over here. At this point, I'd have been like, yo, I done took enough ass whoopings. I need to cool out. You know what I mean? He's just gonna keep going. He bumps into Pops. Yeah, like you said, Pops is shattered at hearing of Kate's death, and then Kentaro decides to kick him while he's down. Because when he's down screaming, he's like, "Yeah, punk, how do you like it? This is all your fault."
Yeah. And I promise you, those words, even though I really thought we were about to get like a fight scene between them, and like Hiroshi was just gonna have to take the hits because a good father's not gonna punch his kid back like that. When you know you're wrong, when you know you're wrong, you shouldn't because you deserved it. Just take the hits.
This was better. This was better.
I feel like what Ken said to him is going to stick with him more than any hits would have.
Yeah. This is
like the fact that it is your fault that she is where she is, because if you had never just ran from her, if you had never did all these things, she wouldn't have coming looking into your life. I wouldn't have met her. And like, I almost feel like he's also blaming him for being sad that Kate died. He's like, I am grieving my sister's death because of you, because I know she exists because you were a crappy person.
Yeah.
Like, this is all your fault.
Yeah. And it honestly, it's because he said all that and he's not gonna beat his ass. It's probably better because after he said that, I feel like if I was that dad and did all that stuff and my son said all that stuff to me, I would expect an ass beating. But then also to know it probably won't come, that feels worse. Like that feels worse because you deserve the ass beating.
He's wallowing in the grief
because the last time. Sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
I say he's wallowing in the grief of losing his only daughter. He's that's hurting him more than getting his ass beat. I don't think he really cared.
Yeah, because like the last time he saw his kids, they were waving at him, super excited.
He was like, "Get out of here!"
His son can barely even like look at him. His son is like, "I'm so done with you. I lost my sister because of you, and I'm going to try to do my best to find her or do something because
so useless.
You obviously don't care."
I hope Kate beats his ass.
Oh, she is.
I hope she's
gonna stab him. Daughters can get away with hitting their dads more than sons can.
Yeah, and of course, we find out in the next scene that Kate is indeed alive. She wakes up.
Wasn't surprised.
And this was kind of hilarious. I didn't know whether that giant pig thing was snotting on her or sniffing her. And then he walks, the thing walks around her.
You're herbivore. You don't want meat. Awesome.
and then she makes a noise, and then it circles back like it changed its mind and goes to Russia. And of course, she gets saved by an arrow that hits this thing in the head.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that Keiko is freaking alive. She's out here in the hollow earth playing Wild Hearts, because that's what it reminded me of, that Monster Hunter like game with a giant pig thing that we saw in all the trailers. Like this, that's where they got this thing. So yeah, Keiko is alive and she's been wholly preserved, like at when she went down. So if they thought Shaw looked good for 90 something. She really looked good for 90 something because she
Don't
ain't
nobody,
aged.
they just get a little dirty sometimes. They just fall down holes and get dirty a little bit.
And get right back up again.
I have to say, this is one of the best endings because I would not have expected her to still be alive at all whatsoever. But I think the only thing that would have made this better is if, and this is maybe super cheesy, and y'all can definitely disagree, but if Kate had been like, "Grandma," or like, and like, all you saw was Keiko's face while Kate said it. Like you didn't see Kate say it, you just heard Kate's voice, like, or some way of being like of some word that made Keiko recognize that she knew who she was.
Yeah.
Like, I know who you are, or the Keiko.
Either that,
That's
or she could have given us a Nani.
Yes, like whatever.
No,
So
no,
That's racist.
no, Ron.
This is not an anime.
No.
Nani?
Why would so I'm not getting the joke. What is the joke?
Oh, Nani.
What in Japanese?
What?
Oh,
They say that in anime. They
Yeah.
say it
It's-
very specific.
Nani?
Nani.
Yeah, the original is from Fist of the North Star, where these characters are fighting, and one of the characters whoops the dude so quick, and he says, "Omae wa moshinderu." He's like, basically, you're already dead, and the character goes, "Nani?" And then he
Nani.
blows up, and then that's been used ad nauseum since
okay.
then.
I guess.
But so the surprise
That
that
would've
the
been
Nani
hilarious.
in this instance that grandma is still alive would have applied because you're super
Yeah.
surprised by what happened would have been hilarious too, and it would have been kind of crazy.
I liked it the way it ended. It was perfect. There was no need for anyone to say anything.
See, I said y'all could disagree with me.
Perfect. I know. I'm just saying. I'm like, that's cheesy, Grandma. So I have Andrea. Did they have so? Oh no, they had physical images of their photos of their grandma.
Yeah,
So
she knows
she
who
would have
Yeah, she's
recognized her. She
Yeah.
would have. I mean, she could have recognized her. Would have recognized her.
Yeah,
No,
She
it
did
was
because she recognized her in the photos, and they're looking through
Yeah,
the
yeah.
files initially.
But I was really happy with how they did that. That was fire. It gave me was it gave me Ant-Man. It made me think of Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Where what was it? Was it what's
Van
his name?
Dyne,
Oh,
who's still
and yeah,
alive after all that
yeah,
time.
she was still alive in
Have
the
y'all seen
quantum
Aquaman?
realm
Have y'all
all
seen
along.
Aquaman?
no.
Oh yeah,
What happened?
yeah, I did.
I said, have
Yes.
y'all seen Aquaman?
Yeah, the second one, right?
The first one.
No, the first one.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Because the mama was still alive.
Oh, and that too. She was
That's right,
alive
yeah.
all
Yeah.
along.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm wondering how they're gonna close this out because we got the finale coming up on Friday, and we'll see what happens. Interesting. I liked it. It's got a lot of action. The CGI and everything has been cool. The action has been cool. The drama in between the various characters and the varying timelines, like how much more time back and forth are we gonna get now? Because I think it's now we can just all live in the present time. It's converged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to stop
The world building has been great though in this show. Like sometimes I feel like some shows when they're trying to world build, they spend so much time doing all the lore that it's just like, okay, can we get to the action? Or we get the shows where it's like it's just action. It's like I don't understand, how do we get to point A to point B? What's going on? But like this one's doing a great job of doing both world building and action, and also like giving hints to the movies that are to come.
I totally feel that. Like,
Because there are 2 movies that take place after this TV show in the timeline.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting how they are keeping things going and keeping things moving and like staying true to it. Because sometimes TV shows I feel like go a little bit off. Like, well, how does this fit into the movie realm at all? But I feel like this show fits perfectly into the movie realm. And
it's been interesting because it's enmeshed completely throughout the timelines. It's just all blended together.
Yeah.
That is for sure. I know I was hating on this show initially, but I do like as this show has progressed, I think what's making it better for me is that like it's tying in to other shows like the Apex, referencing of Apex, them show this episode when they do the kind of time jump of showing Shaw aging in the old folks home.
Yeah.
They're showing clips of like Godzilla fighting Muto from on the TV screen, so that was like nice callbacks to that. So I think this has gotten better. This for sure gotten better. The characters are
That's
still goofy.
yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Andrea.
I just have to say, seeing how much time Shaw actually lost in that like nursing home thing,
It's really sad.
it's actually really sad. Like
Yeah.
it's at least like 40 years.
Yeah,
And
it
this,
was sad, and it was kind of funny at the moment where he stopped. He looked at he saw Godzilla on the screen, and then looked at his little medicine cup like, I don't need to be taking this no more. I'm done with this. Like,
he spent 33 years in that nursing home.
Taking that BS medicine, and now
getting
Like,
good
I
at
was right. But
shuffleboard and bocce ball or whatever the hell they was playing.
yeah, I feel so I do sort of feel like I get why he's crazy. It doesn't make it right, but like 33 years held hostage, get your
Yeah.
revenge. I mean, get it
Yeah.
legally, but like,
And it's kind of ridiculous because, like, I feel like if I were him, like, yo, I told y'all this was gonna happen. We should have had better defense. Like, I don't know. It makes me question, like, what was Monarch doing for 40, 50 years? Like,
Nothing. That's what he
nothing.
said.
They're completely
Chilling.
useless. I'm
It's
like,
always
y'all, they're like
showing-
the most useless gang, I guess, government organization ever. Like, they ain't making no tools, no weapons. They just
Yeah.
chilling.
Shaw had
Steady.
every
Waiting.
right to be as upset as he was that like Monarch don't do nothing. All right. I'm outside of the establishment after X amount of years and these monsters still showing up. Like what is going on? Like what are y'all doing? So I don't blame him for being upset and trying to do something. He's like, y'all are so whack. Like y'all just data F the data. Like they're still coming. Like
No
what's
research.
going on?
You gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta
which
believe
is
in hunting
special
monsters and blow up the
150.
border.
No, that's not the right word term. 180 from who he was in the very beginning, where he was like, "Where's your proof? Where's the data? Nothing is supporting this." And now he's like, "You
I've
gotta
seen
believe
everything.
people."
I've
You
seen
gotta
everything.
feel it.
Gotta close the holes.
Yeah.
So
Do
yeah,
something. Doing something is better than nothing. Let's just do something.
He turned into a whole tinfoil hat. He said, "We
Yeah.
got to close the holes. We got to find the kids."
he went from thinking
Stop it.
Keiko and Bill were crazy to being a perfect version. Well, not a perfect version, but becoming like a mix of Keiko and Bill. More
He
radical
took,
though.
even though he didn't say it to him, he took what Tim said to heart. Let your freak flag fly, bro. Thank you guys once again for chopping it up. I was excited about this one after rewatching. It's been really cool. To the 4 or 5 of you that have been watching online while we do the live stream, appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. Monique Pinkett says, I am new to the Godzilla series, and I like that I don't have a lot of Godzilla knowledge to adore this season arc. It is great for newbies and longtime friends. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Specifically for this universe of Godzilla, though.
Yeah.
Like this does
The
not
American
compete
Godzilla.
to like any other type of Godzilla. I don't think. Like not to the one with in New York.
Oh, the
Broderick. So, like,
1999 was that
and-
2000? Oh my god!
Oh, with Matthew Broderick?
Yeah.
Broderick.
Or to like the original Godzilla.
remember that.
This
Oh,
is
the
how-
OG ones that used to look like wrestling matches.
Yeah, I feel
With
like
paper.
I feel like we need to have we might need to do a day where we like watch the
The
old
OG?
one and then talk about it.
That might be
That'd be
hilarious.
hilarious. That
Those
would
were
be
funny.
hilarious.
So to specifically just this universe of Godzilla.
Yeah. Well, thank you all once again. Like I said, there will be a link in the description of the audio when I upload it to Spotify for podcasters with links to all of our websites so you can support us as creators. Thank you again for taking the time out of your day to listen to us chop up about these things. Tune in next Monday when we stream live again on Monday the 15th. We're going to be doing the finale, and then we'll be taking a little hiatus. Appreciate you. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Peace.